Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with a mixed media project. We're going to be making some mixed media scrappy paper using some scraps from the kits that I've been working with, the Fairy Magic kit and the Fairy Tea Party kit. Some of them are not scraps. I wanted to introduce some images as well, so I did go ahead and just use not a paper that was a scrap. The rest of them are scraps. So I've also pulled in some of my mixed media paper that I used in the last project. These are scraps from that. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to get these all glued down. I will probably do two. So I'll do one on camera and then I'll pause and I'll do the other one as far as the gluing down. And then we'll come back and we're going to add some gesso. We're going to add some we're going to adhere it with a Liquitex Fluid Matte Medium. We're going to use gesso and a credit card to kind of scrape it. And then we've got some acrylic inks here that you guys are familiar with if you've been watching me. Got Sap Green Hue, Brilliant Gold, Daler and Rowney, Turquoise, Amsterdam, Quinacridone Rose, Transparent Raw Umber from Liquitex, and Daler Rowney. This looks like it's light green. And we also have some Crackle Paint. You know, I have to have me some Crackle Paint, which let me grab my palette knife. I forgot. I haven't done any mixed media in a bit of time. It's been a minute. So I'm looking forward to this. So I'm going to go ahead and move some of these things out of the way just so that I don't have to kind of fight for my space here. And just so out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get I'm going to put some matte medium out on this plate, and then we're going to go ahead and get going. Now, again, these are just scraps. They're torn down various shapes and sizes just for interest. I probably have plenty for two 12 by 12. So this is a scrapbook paper, but it's a really thin scrapbook paper, 12 by 12. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm just going to put this over here. I'll move this into view a little bit. And let me grab a brush. That would be useful, wouldn't it? That feels a little bit hard. Yeah, there we go. We got it softened up a little bit. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. I'm not going to think too much about it. I'm just going to start gluing paper down. So here we go. What we're going to be making is we're going to do the mixed media work. We may emboss a little bit as well on it as far as the running something through the embossing machine. And then we're going to be making tags and pockets and things of that nature for the Fairy Magic journals. We are nearing the end of ephemera making, so I'm super excited to get going on the rest of this journal because I need to finish it. It's been going on for a little bit longer than I normally would do a journal, and that's because I decided to do more than one journal. So, and I was also working on more than one project, which is something I typically don't do either. So some of these I'm going to tear a little bit smaller just because I want to be able to spread out the elements in different places on the board here, the paper. Some of them are thicker than others. That's okay. Boy, that one's really got some ink smearing here, which is not a problem. It's all going to get grungy anyway. So let's go ahead and go in with some of these other little bits. I'm going to put the picture elements aside just so that I can introduce those at will when they seem most fitting. I'm going to I haven't really used this paper. I can't remember if this is from the purple kit or because I pulled in another My Porch Prints that had purple tones. I think it is. I don't know if this is from the Fairy Magic kit or not, or the Fairy Tea Party. Not real sure, but that's okay. It's all My Porch Prints, so that's what counts. I am getting a lot of glue on my table, on my mat, my glass mat, but that's okay. I'm going to continue gluing here for just a bit, and I will be right back with you. So I am working on this the night before we're leaving for our trip, because I really want to be able to come back home and not, I want time to plan my next bits of projects before I need to get anything more up on the channel. So it actually worked out really well. We're ready to go. We're ready to roll in the morning. So this video won't go up until, I believe, Thursday. So I will actually already be home by the time this video airs, but I will need time to catch up on all my beautiful peeps out there and all my Facebook groups and stuff. I am going to miss that, though. It's part of my daily routine to get online and check out what people are doing and, you know, celebrate other people's creativity. So I'm going to miss that. I feel like this is going to be a problem, because hopefully that was not going to stick to my paper on the back. We'll see. Of course, one does not have to use fluid matte medium or a wet glue. You could use a glue stick, but I just like this, and I probably will put some where I don't put gesso. I might put some clear gesso, just because I want to be able to have the paper be able to withstand some fluid on top. So that's kind of important. So just squirting out some more of my matte medium over there. So let's see what else we've got here we can do. I think we are only going to do one page on camera in its entirety, and just know that I will be duplicating everything on the second paper off camera. So just to save time, guys, I'm realizing that my videos could be much shorter if I didn't do multiple of the same thing. So I'm working on that. Okay, let's get a little bit of this purple over here. My videos have gotten longer lately. I'm trying to really shorten them up a little bit, but sometimes it's not possible. So I also try to give myself grace and know that y'all will take care of yourself, and you won't feel obligated in any way to, you know, watch all the way to the end or not speed me up or any of that kind of stuff. So let's see, what do we want over here? What are we missing? I think I want another piece of something over here. So I have another piece of this, which would be perfect. Look at that, perfect size and all. It's going to hang over, but we'll just trim it off. And then we're going to put some of the other images on as well, just to kind of have some images like this in the collage. So that's the thought. And let's go ahead and get, we've got 1, 2, I like to do 3 of an element, of a particular element. So I'm going to try to bring in another piece of this. So I'm going to trim it down a little bit, or tear it down a smidge. There we go. How about we put that over here, over here. You guys can see that okay. I'm kind of getting close to the edge of the table. Okay, we're going to go ahead and dry this really quick. I'm going to wipe up my table and get all ready for the next step. So I will be right back with you. Actually, forgot. I need to put these elements on. Short-term memory loss, guys. Oh, I will update you though. I mentioned in another video that I was having my surgery referral appointment, so that went really well. I don't have a surgery date yet, but they will be contacting me, and the doctor was very, very nice. So I feel really good about that, and feel good that they're going to proceed. But I was kind of shocked because everything I read on the internet said the scar, because they go in through the front of your neck, and everything I read said the scar would be fairly small, but it's really not. It's like 1.5 inches. So yeah, that doesn't make me very happy. Not because I care about scars, because, you know, if you've watched my videos, you know I have scars everywhere. So it's not that I'm afraid of scars. I just don't really want a scar on my neck, because that's just not fun. But you know, it is what it is, and hopefully it's going to help me get well, and I will do what I need to do. So hopefully that will be there. I'm going to try to plan it for the summer, because I'll be out of school, and I told them when school starts up, and so they'll try to get me in sometime during the summer. So that hopefully that will work out, because I really don't want to miss any more work. So we'll see. I should hear from them in about a week. So I really want to put some good images on here, because I want that to be part of the collage. So I'm going to put another piece up here as well, even though it does mean we lose some visibility of our papers, but that's okay. It's part of the process. So I'm going to put that one right there. Just so beautiful. There we go. I just realized my heat tool fell on the floor a couple of days ago underneath my table and behind a cabinet, so I'll have to fish that out. So now I'm going to go ahead and go and dry this, and I will be back in a few minutes. Well, lickety split for you. Okay, this is mostly dry. Dry enough to go to the next step, but just I love how the elements are spread out. A lot of it's going to be difficult to see as we continue to move along, because we're going to be scraping some gesso on to get rid of some of these lines, and we're going to be doing some other things. I haven't decided entirely if I'm going to do the Crackle Paint or not, but I think I want to put a little bit of clear gesso, because I'm not going to put gesso everywhere, and I want to make sure that I've got a good surface for everything to adhere to. Some tooth to the paper is basically what clear gesso does. So clear gesso is not going to show, so I'm just going to give it a really quick coat. I'm not even worrying about getting it everywhere, because you get a varied effect when you've got bits on your project that don't have any clear gesso, because it reacts differently to the mediums than it does if there's gesso. So gesso, no gesso, different results. Not being too particular here. Just getting it on everywhere. And I'm not even going to worry about drying it, because it's going to dry as we start working with the white gesso. So the white gesso is going to help push back some of the images, and it's also going to help to it's going to give that kind of scrapey, scratchy look that I like anyway. I don't know what you like. So now we're going to get our gesso. So I need to wipe this off, because I'm going to need this tray, or this plate rather. So give me just a second. Making quite a mess here, Cara-Renee. Right before I leave on my little trip. There we go. Let me move this over so you guys can see. So I'm going to get some gesso onto my plate, just for the purposes of scraping. I'm going to go ahead and just use this brush that I was using for my matte medium, which is completely coming undone, so bummed about that. But we're gonna just get some out here on the plate. We don't need a lot, so probably about that much. Get that out of my way. And then we're gonna scrape, scrape, scrape. So I just dip that brush in there, and you just kind of go like this. Just apply some gesso. Don't worry about what it's covering or doing, just do it. It's gonna create some beautiful texture. If we lose sight of some of our image, that's okay. It's not gonna completely disappear. That one, if you see a place that you colored too much, we can go back over it with a little bit of a baby wipe and pull some of that gesso off so that we can see that image. My plate is in the way. Like right there, I just covered that girl, so I will go back and fix that here in a second. Just not trying to think too hard about it here. I think we probably will be doing the crackle paint. Just because it's my favorite medium. So don't worry, I'm going to go back over that, guys, so we can see our little critters. Our little she-dragon. I think she's a she-dragon. She looks like a girl, at least in my interpretation. There we go. Alright. So now I'm going to go in with a baby wipe, and I'm going to kind of wipe up a little bit. I've got some stuff that's a little bit too scrapey looking too, so I'm gonna kind of even those out a little bit as well. I'll go back over that little guy. I don't want it to be like full of lines and stuff. That looks weird to me. But you'll see what the result of this, or the benefit of doing this is, because it creates some amazing texture on your surface. So okay, so let's wipe some bits off. So I'm just going to dab with my paper towel, just reveal those things again. Don't need to see that whole dress, don't need to see the whole door, don't need to see my whole she-dragon, but I do want to see her face like that. So see what I've done is I just exposed a little bit of it. I also want to see more of this paper right here. And that is pretty much it. So when we're using Crackle Paint, we don't actually have to wait for gesso to dry. So at least I don't. Now, if you're of a different opinion, that's okay. What did we lose here? Oh, our little crown. We need our crown. I don't want them to be bold though, because then that would look really weird, right? Because you've got these really muted out parts, and you've got super bold things, and that's not really very pleasing either. So let me wipe this up. Boy, lots of baby wipes today. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put on some Crackle Paint. If you guys have been watching me, you know it's my favorite medium. So it is from Deco Art, and it dries white, so that's the thing you want to keep in mind. So probably what I'll end up doing is doing a really light raw umber glaze, because I don't want this to look stark white when we're done. So there'll be some drying time here in a moment. So I'm just gonna put it here and there. I'm not gonna overdo it, I promise. I always overdo it, and I'm like, dang, go light, Cara-Renee. Don't be so aggressive. You just basically want it here and there, trying to keep track of where I've been, because I've already lost track. And then we'll pause and dry this, and I'll be working on the other one off camera, as I mentioned. So I may not show it, depending on what I get done before I have to leave for my trip will determine if I show anything in the photos as far as the second masterboard. That's basically all we're doing here, guys, is we're doing a mixed media masterboard. Where there's no image, I don't mind going a little bit heavier with the crackle because it's so beautiful. Get it up on that dress bit a little bit. Oh, that was a lot. That's okay. A little bit on this edge. So now we are going to go ahead and dry this, and I will be back shortly. Okay, this is nice and dry and crackly. Have to do the crackle. Look at that. It makes beautiful tags. Looks like this could be a little bit drier over here, but it should be okay. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to put this palette knife in my water, and then we're going to do a little bit of stamping on the background because I'm going to come in with a raw umber glaze. So I'm also going to reach behind me and grab my fluid acrylic. This is the raw umber. You guys have seen me do this before, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe this plate out just so that it's nice and ready for me. Should have done that while I was off camera. I think my mind is in other places, so it's ticking away the time, you know. It's such a nice day to just get things ready with no rush, and I love that. So there we go. So we're going to do some stamping first. And I hate getting ink on my fingers. This black ink does not come off very well. So I'm going to grab a couple of gloves here just because I'm kind of a baby about that. So give me a second. There we go. Bring this over here so you can see. I'm just going to use my Paris stamp. This is my favorite stamp. I believe this is from Penny Black, I believe. We'll try to find out. And I'm not going to stamp everywhere. I just want to complement, you know, just have some black script here and there. Not complement, just adding some more background here. So nothing too fancy. Doesn't matter. It's not, I didn't pick French, you know, for any reason other than it's right here in my drawer next to where I sit. So it's an easy grab. And so let's get a little bit right here. And we're going to need a little bit up in this corner. I also love how it looks over texture. It's just really gorgeous. We did get some discoloration of the Crackle Paint, and that's just because of the bleeding from the digitals, so not a big deal. They don't bleed a lot, but they do bleed a little bit when you put a lot of wet media on, so a little bit in that little space. And I feel pretty good about that. Don't want to overdo it. Sometimes I do that. So there we go. What were we doing next? Oh, raw umber glaze. So I'm going to get my plate over here, and I'm going to grab another brush. I do tend to go through a lot of brushes when I'm doing this, so pardon my reach while I grab one. I can find one that's softish. Okay, so when you're doing this, you want to use usually I use glazing medium. Of late, I've been using matte medium, Liquitex Fluid Matte Medium. So I'm going to get a little bit on my plate. You want 1 part paint to 2 parts of whatever the medium is you're using. So, so I'm just going to, that was a lot, goodness gracious. It might be a kind of a light brown. Nope, not really. So we're going to put this over the whole thing, and I'm going to show you the magic. If you haven't seen it before, don't gasp. And if you've seen it before, you know that it's going to be perfectly fine, and it's glorious. Now, if I've got anything that's still wet under there, it's not a big deal because we're not looking. This is not a piece of art. And so if something pulls up underneath as far as like the Crackle Paint or the Gesso, I'm not worried about it. So I don't worry about much of anything. So there we go. It was interesting because I was talking with the doctor, and she's like, so do you have any concerns about surgery? And I'm like, no. Like, you know, it's so strange. I do not have a fear of dying. I don't. And so, you know, if my time comes and, you know, I have surgery and I don't wake up or something worse happens, then, you know, I just can't live in fear, so I don't. So I'm like, nope, I'm good. Let's just get her done. get her done. There we go. So now the magic happens, and there was a lot of glaze there, you guys, way too much. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to wipe it off. And what's going to happen is it's going to leave that brown in the texture. A couple more baby wipes here. You can do this as many times as you want to get the desired effect. I'm so excited that I've got subscribers and people that have tried this and they absolutely love it. So that's a win-win. I love it when people try things that they're unsure of. I'm going to wipe the images a little bit where we've got those pretty bits or little, oh, that was too much to take off. We don't want her to be stark. Just a subtle, look at that. She's just subtle. She's like, I'm peeking out. I'm saying hello. So let me show you what this looks like. Try to wipe a little bit of that dress off. And let me hold this up so you can see. That's what it looks like, you guys. That is the magic of Gesso Crackle Paint. Look at that crackle that we're getting right here. I mean, that is just amazing. I never, ever, ever get tired of this. I could do it every day and I would never get tired of it. It's just so, so yummy. So I'm going to zap this really quick. It dries pretty fast, but I'm going to do that really quick before we move on. Okay, she is ready to move on. So now we're going to work on applying some ink. I'm dropping some ink in. So I'm going to grab my little squirt bottle here, and we're going to just drip it in. And I think with this, I'm probably not going to be using as many colors as I picked, which is again not unusual for me. I like to have an assortment here in case I change my mind, but I really, really, really want to use this green. It's called Green Light. It's like that really vibrant lime green. So Daler and Rowney is not my favorite acrylic ink, but it does the job. So I'm going to go ahead and just get some on here and there, and we're going to spritz it with some water. It's very green. Oh my goodness. This is an experiment, guys. This exact process I have not done, so we'll see how it goes. Okay. Oh, that was a lot. Just want a little bit here and there, not overkill. So we're going to give her a little spritz, and we might tip it and move it around to see what happens. There will be some drying time in between all this, so look at that spread. It's got a really yellow undertone, which is really pretty. Okay, so now we're going to tip. Get this moving. We can dab some of this off if it's too bright, so I hope you guys can see what I'm doing here. That's a lot, so we're going to definitely be dabbing some of this up because that is really crazy. Really crazy. So let me get my my baby wipe here, and I'm just gonna, and this also helps you kind of redistribute it. So I'm gonna just use that and set it aside. I may pick it up again because I want to really control this green. It's really, really bold. Okay. Really bold. Like right there, we can't even see the dress. So let's get that uncovered a little bit. We're just kind of creating, I probably could have used a lot less, but again, I wasn't sure what I was really going to do. So it's all play, guys, so don't worry about it. Again, you know, don't treat everything as so precious that you're afraid to use it, because that steals your joy too. So there we go. So let's get some of that off of there. So once the acrylic ink dries though, there's no moving it. So just keep that in mind. It is an acrylic. So I'm loving that. So I'm going to go ahead. There's going to be drying. We're going to be going back and forth. You know, actually, I think I can go in. Did some of that come up? I'm going to go in with the turquoise because that's not going to create mud. Now, if I went in with a pink or something on this, that would create mud because green and red or colors in the red family are not going to mix well. They're going to create a muddy color. I'm hoping that this is the one I'm thinking it is. I don't think I've used this actually. I think I just bought it, or not just, but a few weeks ago. It's not as vibrant as, it's kind of more of a cerulean blue. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that color, but I go a little bit less here. That was overkill on the green. Famous for that. Okay, let's get a little bit up here. And then this time with that, so I don't get it spreading like I did, I'm going to go ahead and use my baby wipe and just kind of get it moving around here. Oh, that's colorizing. That is setting in right away. Wow, that's crazy. It's all right. It's beautiful. So I'm just dabbing with this paper towel just to kind of get that color here and there. It's stained really fast. That's common for a turquoise color of any brand. So turquoise is a staining color. Because it's got like a phthalo blue in it generally, and so phthalo is very staining. It's a very, very vibrant blue. So I'm feeling like I'm just going to continue to pounce here. This surprised me that it set so quickly on that bit. So I'm almost liking this just like it is. Not done, but I'm thinking that I'm not going to put as much as I thought. I am going to probably splatter with some of the gold, but that'll be just in a moment. I brought out my sap green, but I don't feel like we need sap green because this is creating a lot of variation. But I do want to go in with a little bit of the raw umber, transparent raw umber, in liquid form here. Because we can, I mean, I could have dipped into the glaze and not used this ink, but it's okay. There we go. I want a little bit more in this texture. That was like some of the best texture on the whole surface. So I'm just going to kind of dab again and just get some of that brown here and there. Oh, that just totally lifted that up, Cara-Renee. You're lifting all of it up. Goodness gracious. We're going to squirt with a little bit of water because that's not happening. There we go. Get that ink moving. I love what it's doing right there. Oh, and I love what it's doing here. I do not want to disturb that at all. I think I'm going to bring a little bit more in because I'm going to let this set and dry it like it is without doing any more moving of that color. So that brown. I'm going to get a little bit more up in here. And then we'll be just about done for today because this is all going to be setting and drying and waiting for me to return. So it's all good. I love this. Love what it did here. Beautiful. Okay, guys. I will work on the other one as well and get that going. I do have I'll show it to you really quick. I have the paper on. I didn't put any of the more focal images on this, but my Crackle is beginning to crack. So I'll be able to move on with that here shortly, which I'll probably do tonight, and then it'll be all ready for when we meet again. So I am loving this, you guys. It's different. It's very different. But I love it. So I will be back with you after I get back. Well, by the time you see this, I will already be back, but you know what I mean. In YouTube time. YouTube time is different than any other time. So see you later. Bye-bye.